Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. All right, that's more like it. My name is LeVar Charleston, and I'm the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Diversity and Inclusion, and also the Chief Diversity Officer here at the UW-Madison. Welcome to the Outstanding Women of Color Reception, a signature event of the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement, more affectionately known as DDEEA, celebrating Women's Herstory Month. Before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge that the UW-Madison rests on Native lands. The UW occupies ancestral Ho-Chunk land, a place their nation has called Day-Job since time immemorial. We acknowledge the circumstances that led to the forced removal of the Ho-Chunk people and honor their legacy of resistance and resilience. This history of colonization informs our work and vision for a collaborative future. We recognize and respect the inherent sovereignty of the Ho-Chunk Nation, along with the other 11 First Nations within the boundaries of the state of Wisconsin. Tonight, we are here to celebrate and pay tribute to the 14th cohort of Outstanding Women of Color honorees. Each year, we recognize brilliant women whose advocacy, activism, and/or scholarship has positively transformed their organizations and their community, and whose efforts advance equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. The outreach, service, and excellence exemplified by each award recipient are reflective in the mission of this great university and truly embodies the Wisconsin idea. The idea that our work and research should be applied to solve problems and improve health, quality of life, the environment, as well as agriculture for all citizens of the state. Outstanding women of color, along with their leadership and accomplishments, are no stranger to the University of Wisconsin-Madison campus and community. Mabel Watson Ramey, the first African-American woman to graduate from the UW-Madison, attend Marquette University Law School, and practice law in Wisconsin. Ada Deer, the first woman to head the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs and the first Native American woman from Wisconsin to run for U.S. Congress. Vale Phillips, first African-American woman to graduate from the University of Wisconsin Law School, the first African-American, as well as the first woman elected alderwoman to the Milwaukee Common Council, and the first African-American, as well as the first woman to serve as a jurist in Wisconsin. Our past, as well as our present, is rich with the contributions of women who are widely recognized as pioneers, leaders, and innovators. Tonight's honorees are no different. These awardees represent the countless women who have made excellence the standard within the academy and the community, while also humbly pouring into so many. I've personally been on the receiving end of tremendous impactful mentorship from multiple past awardees and even some honorees from today. I see you, Danielle Yancey. Where are you? Collectively, we would be remiss if we did not make certain that they know how valued they are by their villages, how respected they are by their colleagues, and how appreciated and loved they are by their family and friends. I do not envy the individuals charged with selecting our honorees. According to the selection committee, it's a delightful and difficult task to pick just 6 women to honor. As so many individuals have exemplified excellence in their educational, occupational, and service endeavors, the diversity and impact of our honorees continues to expand with every cohort. This year's honorees are UW-Madison alumni, faculty, and staff who have established clinics to serve the poor, are teaching and renewing the sacred spiritual practices of First Nations culture, are warriors on the front lines of AIDS education and research, and they are advocates who connect historically marginalized individuals with essential healthcare. They are in the trenches with students, teaching and promoting community justice and activism, forging partnerships with our Wisconsin tribes, and are bolstering underrepresented students to unprecedented levels of success. These are invaluable contributions to our living, learning, and working communities. Uniformly among all recipients are the tremendous positive impact they have on all the lives of countless individuals from all walks of life. Thank you to the colleagues and friends who, through their nominations, bring the accomplishments of these brilliant women to light. We hope you know that we see you, we appreciate you, we honor and we celebrate you. As part of this wonderful tradition, each year we ask previous honorees to lead us in introducing the newest cohort. This year, 2020 honoree Dr. Shaniqua Bogues has graciously agreed to fulfill this role. Dr. Bogues is a medical doctor and faculty member in the Division of Geriatrics and Gerontology within the Department of Medicine. She specializes in memory assessments, dementia, and geriatric medicine. Dr. Bogues' research interests include the impact of metabolic syndrome risk factors on cognition, which is understanding what causes cognitive decline as we age, assessing trust in medical researchers, and individuals' willingness to participate in research studies using community outreach interventions. Her ultimate goal is to find alternative recruitment strategies to increase the participation rate of underrepresented populations in dementia research studies. It is wonderful to welcome you back, and thank you so much for leading tonight's ceremony. Dr. Bogues.
Thank you, Dr. Charleston. I'm proud and honored to represent the 2020 cohort of outstanding women of color and unbelievably excited for the newest cohort of honorees. Congratulations to you and unending gratitude to those who brought your accomplishments and hard work into light. Since 2007, more than 80 women have been honored for their exceptional academic, professional, social justice, and community work. As one of last year's honorees, I have to say, on behalf of my fellow honorees, the term work sounds strange because we don't consider that what we do as work. Our efforts, our service, and persistence comes from the heart. I personally feel that to serve is a privilege and an obligation. I am also very aware that as a woman of color, I have an avocation that allows me to invest my compassion in work at the core of my practice as a medical doctor. But it's the something more that feeds my soul and sustains my spirit. And because of that, my personal fulfillment I have and always will go further, even if no one notices. All that is to say, on my behalf of myself and my partner honorees, we so appreciate the recognition because what you see is what you get. And what you've seen is what you've actually gotten. After a number of these gatherings, it became apparent that we're all so involved and embedded in giving back that we hadn't met one another. We found that it's a joyful introduction and an immediate bond. Do we have any of our other past honorees with us tonight? Can you please stand? Thank you and welcome back. In addition to being wonderful people, our honorees are powerful, tremendously busy people professionally and in their personal lives. This means they are what's known in contemporary parlance as bosses, who are in charge, on time, schedule tight, and known for keeping it moving. We're going to need everyone's help tonight to slow down the pace, share some conversations and laughs, and enjoy this time with our honorees and their colleagues, friends, and families. Honorees, we know accolades are not why you do what you do, but we're going to celebrate and bring you joy because that's what we want to do, which means that tonight you are not in charge. It's all about you, so take a deep breath and relax. So now I'd like to welcome our Chancellor, Rebecca Blank. Rebecca Blank has served as Chancellor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, one of the largest research universities in the US since 2013. In her time at UW-Madison, she has presided over a major effort to expand access and improve educational outcomes, making sure that students are prepared to succeed in a rapidly changing economy. Under her leadership, UW has improved graduation rates, reduced student debt levels, created the School of Computer, Data, and Information Science, expanded online learning, and launched Bucky's Tuition Promise, assisting low-income students in Wisconsin to attend the state's flagship university. At the same time, she has worked to maintain the university's position as a global leader in innovation and research, nurturing entrepreneurship and driving economic development. Chancellor Blank is an economist who has worked in 3 different presidential administrations. Most recently as Deputy Secretary and Acting Secretary of the U.S. Department of Commerce under President Obama. She holds a doctoral degree from MIT and has served on the faculty at Princeton, Northwestern, and the University of Michigan, where she was Dean of the Ford School of Public Policy. So please join me in welcoming Chancellor Rebecca Blank.
Thank you, Dr. Bogues, and welcome everyone. I'm delighted to have this event back in person after I think we were virtual last year. I think this was one of the, was it true this is one of the last in-person events we had in February before we all went home. So it is wonderful to see all of you. A particularly warm welcome for those who are watching on the live stream. I know not everyone is here in person. Let me begin by thanking Dr. LeVar Charleston and his team at DDEEA for bringing us together to continue this tradition of recognizing the achievements and the contributions of outstanding women of color at UW-Madison. Thanks, as LeVar said, to the selection committee for hard work they did reviewing, I believe, almost 50 nominations, to the staff who organized the program, and to the family, the friends, the colleagues, the nominators who have supported and encouraged all of these remarkable women. As you've heard, this is the 14th year for the Outstanding Women of Color Award. And in that time, we have honored 82 extraordinary women, faculty, staff, administrators, and even a few students, people from every corner of the campus who work in very different areas. The common thread for all of these people is a commitment to changing lives. And Dr. Bogues described sort of that sense of commitment that comes through from so many of these individuals through programs that bring fresh perspectives and new ideas to our campus, through advocacy and activism, and by mentoring and supporting people on campus and in the community. As usual, we have a very impressive group. You're going to meet them in a few minutes, but to give a sense of the scope, we've got 2 professors from the School of Medicine and Public Health, one in ophthalmology, one in pediatrics, 2 community outreach specialists who are connecting the university with diverse communities around the state, one from extension, the other from pharmacy, an assistant professor from Civil Society and Community Studies from the School of Human Ecology, and the director of the Native American Center for Health Professions at the School of Medicine and Public Health. I might say the School of Medicine and Public Health is cleaning up with these awards this year. The rest of you better do better next year. To those of us who are joining to support and to celebrate these nominees, thank you for being here to honor their accomplishments and to recognize the ways in which they contribute both to campus and the larger community. And to each of our honorees, I hope you know how much we see and appreciate what it is that you do for our community. You are an inspiration and a role model for everyone in this room. The pandemic and the resulting budget crisis caused us to take a hard look at what programs we had to put on hold for a while over the last 2 years, and also decide where continuing investment was absolutely essential. There was never a question that the programs around diversity, equity, and inclusion were absolutely essential. So for instance, we've continued to invest in the TOP program, which provides money from Central Campus for departments to go after people who they want to recruit from groups that are not always well represented within their discipline. TOP has already helped us recruit 42 outstanding faculty, about 3/4 of whom are people of color from underrepresented groups. We successfully launched a new campaign, the Ramey Nolan campaign. And I know many of you have heard me talk about this. It's named for our first 2 Black students to graduate from the university, Mabel Watson Ramey and William Smith Nolan. I believe at this event last year, I noted that when we launched this 2 summers ago, I set a goal of 10 million. And last year I noted we'd gone over that $10 million goal which I was really pleased with. Well, I'm here today to announce that the current dollar amount in this fund is $70 million. It's just amazing. This is all support from our alumni who understand the importance of this to our campus. And much of this money is going into scholarships, which is wonderful, going straight to the students. And of course, over this last year, we brought on board a wonderful new Chief Diversity Officer, LeVar Charleston. LeVar is building a strong team inside of DDEA, and he's building new partnerships with units across the campus to build a shared vision for a more diverse and a more inclusive university, and a shared commitment to making the changes we need to make to get there. As I told the regents last month, it is essential that we continue to invest in making this university a place where all people can feel that they belong. This is a work in progress, as we all know, and I'm counting on all of you to keep that work going strong after I leave at the end of this semester. As we celebrate the achievements of tonight's honorees, I want to thank them, and I want to thank all of you for your dedication to helping UW-Madison live up to its mission as a great public university. Thank you, and let's now celebrate our honorees.
Thank you, Chancellor Blank. We're going to miss you as a role model, not only for women, but anyone, as an example of leading with supportive strength. And now to the celebration. A representative for the nominations of each honoree will introduce their awardee. Full biographies for the honorees, along with a list of those who submitted the nomination, are in the printed program. Dr. Charleston, can you please come up to present the honorees with their plaques? And please. That's okay. Please remember to pause for pictures when you do come up here to receive your plaque. And then we'll have some brief remarks from each recipient. So let's begin with our first introduction. Dr. Daniel Knock, Professor, Vice Chair of Education and Faculty Development, and Director of Medical Student Education in the UW Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Services, to introduce our first honoree.
Thank you. First of all, wow, congratulations to all of you. I mean, I'm having total imposter syndrome right now, but you are all outstanding and phenomenal. Congratulations to the current as well as future and past winners. And I have the pleasure and honor of introducing a wonderful, wonderful colleague of mine, Dr. Kat Burkett. Dr. Burkett joined the University of Wisconsin in 2003 and now serves as a professor of ophthalmology. She specializes in oculoplastic surgery. She is dual fellowship trained in both ophthalmic plastic and reconstructive surgery, as well as cosmetic facial surgery. A unique combination allows her to correct and repair eye-related problems, as well as improve the appearance of her patients. Fleeing Vietnam during the fall of Saigon and sustaining a bullet wound, Dr. Burkett could have only dreamt of earning a medical degree one day. One would not consider a refugee camp an aspiring place, but it was there that her passion for medicine was born. Inspired by a compassionate camp physician who took care of her family, early exposure to medicine had a tremendous impact that has driven her career. Through numerous diversity and inclusion efforts, Dr. Burkett creates access and opportunities for countless others just like her. She is the embodiment of a true physician educator and goes above and beyond her role as UW faculty. She not only impacts minorities in our community, but globally. Dr. Burkett helps to lead UW's International Ophthalmology Fellowship Program and has created a nonprofit foundation to lead medical mission work and teach local surgeons so that medical care is self-sustaining in countries such as Honduras and Vietnam. She also mentors future oculoplastic surgeons from Vietnam, the Philippines, Thailand, South Korea, India, Central America, Brazil, and Europe. She also mentors underrepresented minorities in medicine and works to ensure that the next generation of Wisconsin physician leaders are ready to practice in global and diverse communities. She is a tireless advocate, and I've seen it time after time with numerous new programs that I can't believe are popping up, but she does it. And she's a tireless advocate for the values of equity, justice, diversity, and inclusion, who puts those values into practice through her and also through her own medical practice and contributions to the campus and global community. I'm extremely honored to present to you Dr. Kat Burkett.
Thank you so much for that nice introduction, Dan. I'm extremely honored to be accepting this award. And I'd first like to thank the selection committee as well as Dr. Kanak, Alex Gaspidi, and Vimal Kanduri for taking the time to nominate me. It's really, as mentioned previously, incredibly humbling and frankly unnecessary to give me an award or any of us this award for doing something we love so much to do every day. And as Dan mentioned, really from the time the fall of Saigon, our family fled here. We were in a refugee camp in Pennsylvania. And then we were actually sponsored out by a doctor. And so we lived in their basement for many months. And that's kind of where I really started to learn to love medicine. I would go on the little house calls with him with the black bag. And I learned that not only did I love medicine, but those stale lollipops you would actually get in the doctor's office. But frankly, I don't actually eat the lollipops anymore. But really, so many people have helped me along that journey in all these years. And I can only hope to repay some of it back by trying to help others, whether anybody, but particularly those of underrepresented populations, or really untapped, diverse populations, we should say, that just really don't have the mentoring opportunities or the opportunities that we sometimes have. So if we can open that door for them, they can forge new pathways, just gives them opportunities that they might not have. So I'm honored to be able to do that and hope that it helps in some small way. I do want to thank also my family, my husband, Jason, my daughter, Hisa, my parents who aren't here, my in-laws, Ron and Karen Shephoister, and also my mentors who helped me when I first came to Wisconsin in 2003. That's Dr. Dortzbach, Mark Lucarelli, and Brad Lemke. And thank you everyone for being here. It's an honor, really, I'm humbled. Thank you so much.
Poso. My name is Brian Kovalsky, and I am the Dean of Continuing Education at the College of Menominee Nation. I have the privilege and honor to introduce Jennifer Gauthier. She's a Senior Outreach Specialist for the Extension Institute of Community Development, Menominee County Nation Division of Extension. Jennifer Gauthier is an enrolled member of the Menominee Nation and also honors her Ho-Chunk, Oneida, and Stockbridge heritage. For nearly 25 years, she has worked for the Menominee community, including the tribal government, and most recently as community development educator. She has earned a reputation for building strong partnerships and holistic programming. At the core of Gauthier's work is the integration of the Menominee language and culture into all aspects of programming. Her leadership for our development program is built on foundations of Native American culture, teaching from Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin tribal members. She is especially excited by her work with Indigenous food systems, both home and abroad. And this is something I'm very proud of because I work very closely with her. Gauthier has been essential to building a food system that integrates local knowledge and community during the COVID-19 pandemic. Her hard work has led to the publication of many resources, recognition with innovative community grants, and more importantly, a growing community of gardeners. Gauthier also has the creation of an after-school language club after listening to youth. While mentoring these youth, she was inspired to create additional ways to provide inclusive and safe spaces for learning and sharing. She has helped Menominee County establish easily accessible technology and other improvements for its employees. Collectively, this work is a way of building healthy communities. I want to read a reflection from one of Jennifer's colleagues, which pinpoints the essence of what it means to be a role model. Annie Jones, a fellow Menominee woman, scholar, and extension staff member, and I think a rock star, works closely with Gothier. She says, because of Jennifer, I understand that Indigenous ways of knowing work to strengthen academic ways of knowing, and that walking in both worlds is courageous and empowering. I am honored to count her as a friend and mentor from whom I've learned the true meaning of service and what it means to be Menominee. I'd like to invite Jennifer up and Nahau.
So I had to write my words out because it's really emotional and just powerful being here. So Poso Nitanawe Maknuk, Nich Kaki no Hamoak, Mishik Mauni Wiak virtual, Mishikinis Masetano, Warwanan case Queso, Nemaninitan Skuniak, Mishik Warwanan case Piak Nahka. So I wanted to say hello to my relatives, my fellow teachers here, and all the people virtually and here in Madison. I'm happy to see you all and thank you for being here tonight. What this recognition means is not lost on me. It's really all overwhelming in the best way possible. And I think for all of us here, we're full of gratitude and at the same time have this feeling of this is what we're supposed to do. I feel that. Being with Extension and having the opportunity to work in the community I love and call home, being surrounded by hardworking colleagues that have become family, having the autonomy to create, experiment, and work in areas that are sometimes unfamiliar to others is truly a blessing. We're part of a larger movement that is reclaiming Indigenous health, scholarship, and community. I want to honor the relationships and partnerships that have been built over the years of work, because without Menominee County, the College of Menominee Nation, and most importantly, the Mamachit Tawak, or the Menominee people, the work I'm engaged with wouldn't be possible. I've learned so much from all of you. Together, we're making positive changes and strengthening our Menominee vision of health, a vision that integrates generations of knowledge and language and foodways, environment, relationships, and so much more. And while this award says Newiswan, or my name, it represents Mauni Wiak, or all of us. There's so much to say. And since hearing about the recognition, it's been really a lot of reflection and appreciation. And while the award recognizes my efforts, I didn't get here alone. And I want to say Match Wawanan to everyone. Thank you for your guidance and your support. Wawanan to my nominating team, Lindsay, Sarah, Brian, and Annie. You've created not only a space for me to share my work, but helped me to see my work. The nomination process and your words are alone were more than anyone could ever ask for. I want to say thank you to Nate Matamosak, my fellow women that are here tonight. I want to thank you for your hard work and your contributions. It isn't always easy to be here, and being here with you tonight. I'm happy to learn about you, and being with you is a reward in and of itself. It's been a tough couple of years for all of us. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's to tell people how you feel. I want to recognize and thank the women in my life. To my mom, my aunties, and my nannies, your grace, wisdom, and perseverance are an example to follow. To my sisters, thank you for being fearless and funny and supportive all at the same time. And to all the youth that I've spent time with over the years, including my nieces and nephews, thank you for the hope that you give. You're the best we've ever had. And I can't wait to see where you take us. To my grandmother, who shared with me so many of her ways with the community and the world, I wanted to share her words. She always told me, "Kanawit tam mauni kako," and that means take care of everything. She instilled a sense of purpose and kindness. And those times when you think things are crazy and out of control and everywhere, know that in some way, you're taking care of everything. Annette and Waiwanan.
Good evening. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Dr. Cheryl Kavanaugh, Dr. Cheryl Henderson. I'm sorry. As you can tell, I'm a little nervous. Many of you in this room know Cheryl's father and knew her mother, and you should know right now that they both are very, very proud of her. Cheryl has been a faculty member here at the Department of Pediatrics for 11 years. She began her studies at Johns Hopkins University, where she studied medicine and also got her doctorate. She pursued a fellowship after that in pediatric infectious disease at Emory University in Atlanta. She was enticed to come back to Madison in 2011, and this ended up to be a tremendous gift to the infants, children, youth, and all the families who are living here in Madison with HIV. She has had an impact on all of these families here and in Wisconsin and in Northern Illinois. Dr. Henderson, on her arrival, immediately connected with the communities of color and began to address the health disparities and access to life-saving health care that plague those people with HIV. She created the pediatric and adolescent and young adult program of the UW Comprehensive Care Clinic for HIV, and these serve children living with HIV and their families. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Henderson emerged as one of the steady voices of experience, and she brought information about COVID-19 to the broader Dane community. Over the past 2 years, she's participated in online forums, vaccination events, outdoor community activities, and provided essential facts about the virus and the importance of vaccination, testing, and masking. You will often hear her voice in media outlets discussing the latest developments with COVID vaccines and treatments. Dr. Henderson has also been quite the mentor. She's been instrumental in recruiting and retaining people who are underrepresented in medicine and is an active mentor for both African-American teens and underrepresented UW medical school students. She is someone who young professionals truly admire, and she's a tremendous role model and a mentor. She's powerful and dynamic, yet humble, and she truly lives what she believes. What has struck me most as I've worked with Dr. Henderson is her warm personality, her positive attitude, and her optimistic demeanor. This has had the effect to both reassure and motivate those who find themselves in her presence. That I have the great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Cheryl Henderson.
Well, thank you, Vivek, for that introduction. And also, I would just like to thank Dr. Klein, who is a colleague, and all of those who were instrumental in writing letters of nomination and nominating me for this. And I see our department chair, Dr. Wald, is also here, who has been incredibly supportive in my career overall. I'm honored and incredibly, extremely humbled to be chosen for this award and to share this platform with 5 other very well-deserving women. Congratulations to you all also. I would like to thank the selection committee for choosing me as one of the awardees, and also recognizing that there were many, many other women who were put up for a nomination and who are doing incredible work here. And I also thank you to the university and the DDEA committee for recognizing that there are women of color on campus whose contributions make a big impact on the mission of the university. As it is for many achievements and accomplishments, this was not obtained by me alone. I stand on the shoulders of so many people who have supported me, family, friends, colleagues, in the department and the School of Medicine, as I worked to achieve the goals of providing excellent and equitable healthcare for every person that I'm involved with, and I thank you. I also want to recognize my friends and family from afar. I said I would say hi because I know they're live streaming. I have my father's here and my child is here with me to celebrate. And it is just so good to be able to be here with all of you. In particular, I'd like to recognize the two people and who have influenced me the most throughout my life. And you've already heard and you know them, but it's true. My parents, Doctors Perry and Virginia Henderson. My father, who's right here, was an obstetrician here at UW for many, many years until he retired in 1997. But he didn't retire. He kept going. As you know, he and my mother just kept going. But from an early age, I learned compassion and the care that was needed to be a physician. And I believe I learned this just sitting at the dinner table, listening to conversation. And then I also have vivid memories of our family going on road trips in New Mexico, where we lived at the time, and we would stop and my father would visit clinics where he had helped establish high-risk obstetric clinics for the Native American communities at the time. My mother, as many of you know, was a psychologist, an educator, and a fierce advocate for ensuring that all children had an excellent education. And this involved information that was relevant to their culture. She would also spend time visiting families in their homes as needed to support students. To me, she was my greatest cheerleader, especially when I would be having a hard time in school or in life. And she was there to refocus me on to my ultimate goals. I believe she is here today in spirit with all of us. Together, my parents demonstrate a life of service to the community and to our neighbors. As you've heard, my major focus in healthcare has been working with families and children who live with HIV. And as with many illnesses, it's one that disproportionately impacts people of color, primarily Black people, both nationally and globally. And unfortunately, HIV remains a very stigmatized illness, and it is really important that we recognize the person and not the illness overall. Throughout my career, I have been blessed to work with teams of people who recognize the challenges of living with HIV and who are dedicated for caring for the entire person, their family, within the context of their lives and their culture, rather than just treating or preventing HIV. Here at UW, I work with a small but mighty team of people, case manager and social workers that I'd like to acknowledge. Right now, Terry Meyer, who I see here, Salamine Tombe, and Beth Clemitis. And as a group, we have worked to really support the families that we care for. And I acknowledge you and I thank you for the work that you're doing. I had to reflect that 2 years ago, I sat out there in the audience. As it's already mentioned, one of the last in-person events that we had, and my infectious disease brain was thinking, oh, should we be sitting here? And the other part was, I need to go shop for food so that we have a 2-week supply in case we have a lockdown. And we now know what those 2 weeks looked like. It has been a hard 2 years for everyone. And it became apparent very early that, and spotlighted that COVID-19 was, like many other illnesses, very disparate amongst people. We heard pretty rapidly that people who were Black, Hispanic Americans, or Native Americans had higher rates of hospitalization and deaths. And it was extremely important to determine ways to provide access to vaccines, to testing, and to just accurate knowledge about COVID-19. And in this process, I really had the opportunity to partner with so many great people. And I want to call out former Outstanding Women of Color honorees that I work closely with, Shiva Vidar-Sailoff, Dr. Jasmine Zapata, and Dr. Patricia Tejas-Garon. And a current honoree that you'll hear from in just a minute, Dr. Carla Gaines, our doctor, yes. Yes, also known as CDC Carla Gaines. And she'll fill you in a little bit more. I've worked with health departments, and you heard a lot about the work that we've been doing, but it really does take a team. The work continues. The pandemic is not over. But one thing we've learned is that it really just takes listening to people, understanding what the true fears and concerns are, and finding creative ways to provide access to everything that's needed. I really appreciate the partnerships that have been built. And so thank you for those. The work continues. Thank you for honoring.
Wow, what a night, huh? What a way for us to re-enter the world in this beautiful night. I'm sure just based on what I've heard so far, we all know those people who are beautiful inside and out. And I'm really thrilled to introduce you to another one of these amazing women. So Miss Carla, Corolla, but we call Carla, of course, Peterson Gaines is a unique example of a woman who is equally respected in both academic and community circles. An alumna of UW-Madison and a longtime community health activist, she's respected and loved by many in the university and in the Black community and in senior communities. So at CDC Carla. So in her role as Community Research Associate with the Community Academic Aging Research Network, or CARN, she facilitates connections between investigators and stakeholders in the greater Madison African American community. Peterson Gaines's voice is essential to the research network's success because she understands and represents the priority health concerns faced by older African Americans in Dane County and continually advocates for their needs. She has helped us build a trust bridge between the UW-Madison investigators and African American community members in Dane County. In her role as community liaison for Cohort's insurance, Peterson Gaines leads with kindness and humor, putting others at ease. Perhaps it is her strong religious faith that supports her tendency to lead with love. This inspires others and to want to be part of the solutions. We can attest to her ability to create an engaged and respectful environment that values diverse voices. I personally have seen her, how she draws others out, giving support when needed. Peterson Gaines' inspirational and relational approach also builds community and changes the intergenerational trajectory of family health through her teaching. She is modest, so some might miss what is at her core, her integrity, her kindness, and her generosity. We can't envision a better way to build community, inspire trust, and promote integrity in healthcare than is exemplified by Miss Carla Gaines. So with that, I'm so pleased to introduce the amazing, beautiful inside and out, Miss Carla Peterson Gaines. First.
Okay. Whew. So I wrote my thing down too, because I'm so glad I wasn't the first to cry. And I asked Miss Christina Flores to make sure she brought some Kleenex up here for me, because I know me. When you know yourself, go ahead and ask for it in the beginning. So here goes. When I looked up the word outstanding, it said exceptional, excellent, marvelous, magnificent, superb, wonderful, exceptional, extraordinary, remarkable, distinguished. And when I look at the women here, the 14th cohort, I see courage, eminence, renowned, innovative, phenomenal, and a word that wasn't in the list, I put resilient. This is the 2021-22 Outstanding Woman of Color recipients. Let's just pause and give them a hand right now. I am just overwhelmed, honored, and humbled to be in this space, in this ordained time. When I looked at the history of the UW System's Outstanding Women of Color in Education Award, starting in 1994, I reviewed the incredible trailblazing women educators, bar none, a list of international who's who, on the shoulders that I stand today. I knew Dr. Marcia Lee and Dr. Nellie McKay. My soror, Dr. Gloria Hawkins, the late Lucille Badger, the renowned Dr. Gloria Lanson-Billings. And now, in 2007, the UW-Madison established the UW-Madison Outstanding Women of Color Award. I remember every year going over there in the room, looking over the lake. It was beautiful. We had hors d'oeuvres. And saying, these are some amazing women. I already know, amazing women. So thank you, Deputy Vice Chancellor and Chief Diversity Officer, Dr. LaVar Charleston. Yes. I know him. Your staff, the Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement. Thank you to the award selection committee that had the enormous task to pick such amazing women. I still cannot believe I'm in this number. To my nominators, Dr. Carrie Gleason, and to Dr. Fabu Phyllis Carter, an outstanding woman of color of the Alzheimer Disease Research Center, to Dr. Jane Mahoney, Director of the Community Academic Aging Research Network, in which we finally say is CON, who I'm so excited to be a part of. And to my mentor, an outstanding woman of color, Dr. Eva Vivian, the niece of C.T. Vivian, professor of the School of Pharmacy, and the chair of the African American Health Network. Thank you for seeing something in me. It is so important to know your history so you can see your present and expand on the future for many. In 2007, outstanding women like the late Jacqueline DeWalt was acknowledged. I tell you, you all were all in my speech and I didn't even know it. Dr. Patricia Guillaume and Dr. Jasmine Zapata and Dr. Shaniqua Bogues, who's here today. Women of outstanding excellence, Dr. Goodings, Byers, Elise Ward, Dr. Michelle Robinson, M. Anderson, Barbara Nichols, my soror Beverly Hutchinson, soror Gina Green Harris, my sister Sheba Badar, and my Greek sister Mary Muse. These women and more. I stand on their great legacy. This legacy is my connecting and my connection, building trust within my community, supporting the work of others. That's my dash of my life. The African American Health Network, the African American Opioid Coalition, the Foundation of Black Women's Wellness, the Rainbow Project, Dane County Health Council, Black Maternal Alliance, the UW Health Maternal Child and Infant Summit, One City Learning Center, Unity Point, Merit Community Health Impact, African American Self-Sleep Sabbath, Urban League Guild, the UW COVID-19 work, my beloved church, Mount Zion. And of course, the community service of the work of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, of which I'm a proud member, to name a few. They build me, my family, they give me purpose. These organizations have helped shape my professional work and awareness. I never knew that God would bring my work that I have done at courts over 28 years ago, creating a program of outreach specialists, meeting those needs of the most vulnerable people in our state, our Medicaid members. I was doing social determinants of health before the word was coined because I knew what our people needed. I knew that they just didn't want to come to appointment just because they didn't want to come. It's because of those things that impeded them, those barriers. So that was my avenue to work in the community. That was my avenue to now work with Karn. These connections have made me look at my dash of my life. Being a servant, caring for others is me. Working on health inequities is so critical in such a time as this. And finally, I thank you in this room today. And those on the live stream, hi babies, hi family. Near and far, to my 3 children, my sister Maria, my dear friend that came up from Chicago, Dacia, to my 4 grandbabies, Cruz, Ale, Carla, and Lyric, my sister girlfriends, my sister circle, my son who's here, my one son there he is. He graduated from East Carolina, but he came home so he could be a mentor to Black young men. And he works at West High, and I'm so proud of you. To my grandma and my mom, they guided me. They were strict, but they knew what was best. To my beloved husband of some 40 years that let me do what I do. Thank you, baby. I humbly accept this phenomenal award, not for me, but for the countless of community members I serve, as I strive to be committed to serve with intentionality, transformation, and love. God bless you. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, so I have to follow that. Thank you. But you set me on a good tone, which was love. You left me in a good place. Thank you. Because I do have the honor to introduce somebody who I love very much. Accidents of this world brought us together in many ways, and they're bringing us together in this moment again on this stage. So I have the honor of introducing my wife, my partner, and my co-conspirator in this world. So thank you very much for letting me have this honor. Dr. Carolina Samiento joined the Department of Civil Society and Community Studies in 2014. As an engaged scholar and an urban planner, she partners with social justice organizations in Wisconsin and California that are transforming communities from the bottom up. She centers art and culture in her research and her organizing, from working with organizations to include music, dance, and popular education in their programming to build community through son jarocho, music, and dance. She is a campus leader in community-based teaching who embeds opportunities for undergraduate and graduate students to use their collective skills to support social justice, activism, and advocacy in partnership with local organizations like Freedom Inc. that push for increased investment and justice in BIPOC communities. Despite being geographically and emotionally in many ways distant from our hometown, we're here in Madison. Dr. Sarmiento remains deeply engaged with community service in her hometown of Santa Ana, California, where roughly 80% of the residents identify as Latina and Mexican. In 2019, she led an effort to bring together youth and adult organizers from the Chicane community of Santa Ana, California, the Menominee Nation, and Madison's Black community for a week of sharing, learning, and collective power building. During the COVID pandemic, she worked with domestic worker and immigrant-led organizations to lead relief distribution efforts amongst over 1,000 immigrant families, giving direct aid to the people who needed it the most and were excluded from many systems that went to give money and support to families who needed it. Currently, she is partnering with Voces de la Frontera and other organizations here in Wisconsin on community-based research to support worker-led efforts that help address the the inequities experienced by essential immigrant workers during the pandemic. Thank you very much, Caro. Congratulations.
Buenas noches, good evening. What an honor to be here with all of you tonight. I am so inspired. This should be called the Phenomenal Women's Award. I really hope and work hard to make sure that our histories of dispossession are centered in the work that I do. But even more importantly, I try to focus my work on recognizing and building with the movements that are happening right now in this very moment around many different issues that challenge questions of displacement, questions of removal, exploitation, and assimilation. As we stand here today on the occupied and stolen Ho-Chunk land and at a university that has historically profited from this dispossession, there are many, many communities, Native and other BIPOC communities, that continue to resist and reimagine relationships that are outside structures of settler colonialism. I hope my work, as many of your work today, can help reimagine relationships to space, to place, to land that are outside of these structures. And in the words of Tongva and a Hachiman scholar, Charles Sepulveda, I hope that reimagining the world, that we can reimagine this world that goes beyond prisons, beyond the theft of land, beyond wars, and beyond the logics of white supremacy. Through encuentros, with my Menominee brothers and sisters here in Wisconsin, through organizing with Black and Hmong organizers here in Madison, Wisconsin, with organizing with undocumented immigrant organizers through Voces de la Frontera throughout the state of Wisconsin, and through organizing with undocumented immigrant workers who are leading domestic worker rights in California. I continue to learn that we can only grow our solidarity through real work in building relationships to one another that value our different histories, very different histories, very different pains, very different struggles and hurts, as well as honoring those that we do have in common. I am very fortunate to stand on the shoulders of giants, many who have fought very hard for me to be here today. In the spirit of community building, I want to share a little bit of who I am today and some of the giants who are here with me today. I am named Socorro, Carolina Socorro, after my mother, who's a Mexican anthropologist, who taught me about my history, taught me my language, taught me to be proud of my culture, and connected me to my ancestors. This is a gift that is necessary to stand against racism, both internalized and external. My father recently retired as one of the few Chicanos in a county that's called Orange County. That's where the immigrants started. That's where Proposition 187 started. Anti-immigrant Minutemen started this organization, if you're not familiar with it. He always taught us that representation isn't enough, that laws are not the same as justice, and that change requires more than liberal gestures of inclusion. My brother, Salvador, who is also present, is the national campaign director of the National Day Labor Organizing Network. He accompanies local and national efforts in the defense of immigrant workers, like the ICE Out campaigns that ended 287G contracts throughout the nation. My brother Luis isn't here today, but he is a project director of a community land trust in Santa Ana, California. Revel, my co-conspirator, as he says, my compañero de vida. He's also a co-author and fellow radical urban planner with me. We have two beautiful kids, Galeano and Juan Marcelo. Thank you to all my community who was here. My colleagues, Professor Jen Gaddis, Professor Casey Keeler, Professor Carolee Dodge Francis, who are not only friends, but who have worked really hard to create a space on this campus that supports this type of engaged scholarship and teaching and make a space where it is respected and valued. Dr. Armando Ibarra and mi compañera Veronica Ibarra, thank you so much for creating a home away from home and inviting us to continue to connect our work and passion and commitment to worker justice here in Wisconsin with Voces. Dr. Alfonso Morales, thank you for always making space for this Chicana urban plan and reminding us that there's room for us in urban planning and continuing to shape our neighborhoods and our cities. Thank you to my students, Jimmy Camacho, Vivian, Mallory, all of you who hold on to those roller coaster rides as my TAs when we're partnering with different organizations. You don't know where the class is gonna end. Thank you for inspiring me with your great and valuable research, from questions around how and what role healing plays in activists in Black radical spaces. Thank you for those invaluable spaces of support that you are creating for other students and graduate students of color here on campus. Thank you to Power Collective. Thank you for creating that space, not just for them, but also for me. Finally, thank you to the different organizations who continue to allow me, your humble servant, to continue to build with you. This includes Menekanakim, Community Rebuilders from the Menominee Nation, Freedom Inc., Regeneración, Voces de la Frontera, and of course, my community back at home, Nuestras Manos, Vela, El Centro Cultural de México, Radio Santana, and many others. Es un honor seguir trabajando en la lucha con ustedes. Muchas gracias.
Wow, what a inspiring and glorious evening. And speaking of inspiration, it's really an honor to introduce you to a remarkable, dedicated, and effective leader. Throughout Danielle Yancey's long and distinguished career here at the UW, her incredible ability to serve others with a purpose in her heart has served as the foundation for her enormous impact. While serving as a leader of our Native American Center for Health Professions, known as NACHIP, she successfully completed for a very competitive national Indians into Medicine grant, and then parlayed that into a springboard for creating opportunities and resources for the recruitment of talented American Indian students into the healthcare professions. This in turn is advancing healthcare equity and quality and access to care in our Native communities, and reflects Danielle's skill and natural ability as an effective community builder. Danielle's entire career has been dedicated to serving Native American and other disadvantaged communities through the Native American values of respect, relevance, responsibility, and reciprocity. She possesses a very special talent. She brings out the best in all of us, including new learners, senior staff and faculty, even her dean, I would say. This past year, she initiated and co-directed the first American Indian Health elective course offered at our School of Medicine and Public Health. Working with UW Health and the Madison Metropolitan School District, she also designed a cultural awareness and adult training program, which resulted in a 73% higher rate. Through her consulting services, she advances her work of cultural awareness and community engagement, and co-founded a nonprofit organization in 2016, Spirit of a Woman and Indigenous Girls Rock Camp. I am deeply impressed and inspired with Danielle's ability to infuse cultural teachings and way of knowing into her leadership roles. Her professionalism, expertise, work ethic, and above all, extraordinary leadership skills, combined with her natural instinctive caring and compassion, make her a truly effective and wonderful leader. Talk about timing. This morning, I got a annual report from the Association of American Medical Colleges, where all 155 medical schools in the country are compared graphically in important metrics of how much we are serving communities, especially underserved communities. And we are #1 in the country in terms of Native American medical students enrolled. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Danielle, for all you have shared with us, including your remarkable inspiration.
Wow, I'm speechless. I'm so glad I wrote down what I was going to say. Thank you so much, Women, for that introduction. Thank you, Dr. Charleston. It's been so beautiful to see you rise. I used to work with him.
I used to work for.
Many years ago. Oh, and thank you for asking for Kleenex. So I'm going to try to get through this. Posoa ne Mauni Wiak. My Menominee name is Nikekatuki. I am Bear Clan. I come from the Menominee and Santee Dakota Sioux people. I am the daughter of Dale and Glenda Cactosh, the granddaughter of Mary Jane and Dennison James, Beatrice and Melvin Wapoose, and Clifford Cactosh. I'm the wife of Theodore Yancey, and I'm mom to Isaiah, Sequoia, Elijah, and Sedella. Hi, kids, I love you. And my homelands is the Menominee Indian Reservation. Where I come from, we're often asked, who's your family? Whose kid are you? Because that's how we find our place in the world. That's how we carry ourselves. I am proud to come from a legacy of strong, resilient Indigenous women who have taught me what it means to know who you are and where you come from. So I am extremely honored to accept this award here in Dejope and to stand with these incredibly talented and outstanding women. Your words tonight just blew me away, and I'm extremely humbled to share this space with you. I must say, I can't take credit for this award on my own. So much of who I am has been nurtured, guided, and uplifted by so many. I am a reflection of the family and the community that raised me. I have so much gratitude and appreciation and Wawanans to give to my husband, my children, my parents, my many, many, many mentors. If I named them all, we'd be here all night. And those who put in the time and effort to do this nomination. It's certainly not a small lift. So a big thank you to Dean Golden, Dr. Elizabeth Petty, Dr. Brett Benally Thompson, Annie Jones, Myrna Warrington, Jerry Waka, and Wendell Waka. So many people that I have the great privilege to work with. And I want to thank the university and the division and the selection committee for holding a space like this for us and for all the awardees that came before us. Receiving this award at this time is particularly special because I get to share it with another Menominee woman. We often find ourselves as the only one or the few in most spaces. So it is humbling to share this moment with another Indigenous woman, a Menominee woman from my community. And she's someone who encouraged and supported me back when I was a young undergrad on this very campus, just trying to find my way. And I'm so proud of her and the work that she does, and I'm honored to be here with her. As I reflected on this award tonight, I couldn't help but think about our past and our historical relationship with education. When education meant something entirely different, a time when I would not have been allowed to represent my culture or speak my language. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge and remember those who came before me, what they endured and survived, so we could be here today, and to those who have passed on and those yet to come. So now is the time in my life when I'm trying to pay it forward. It is a privilege to do what I get to do each day in service to NATCHIP and our communities, and I continue to learn something new and am inspired by the brilliance and power of our Indigenous youth and our aspiring future healers. I want to acknowledge my team. I mean, you all already know Lauren Cornelius, Melissa Metaxen, Lina Martin, Dr. Brett Benally Thompson. I mean, we show up every day with purpose in our heart because we want to heal our communities. We want to do better for our communities, and I could not do this alone. So I just appreciate each and every one of you. Like was mentioned during Dean Golden's remarks, I'm currently teaching my first class, American Indian Health, History, and Tribal Governance. So I've been in teacher mode, and I thought, how could I use these 3 minutes, which is probably now more like 4 minutes. So one an assignment, some homework for all of us here. As we leave here tonight, I ask that you all continue to uplift each of us in support of our work on campus and in our communities. Support our Native American students in your classrooms, walking your hallways and on campus. See them, encourage them, invest in them, because I was once them. Honor tribal sovereignty, continue learning about and teaching Indigenous history and protecting our sacred places. I want to say thank you to all of you, Wawan and Katanen, for being here tonight. And thank you for this award. And thank you to those of you who are watching online, to my family and friends, and to everyone. I am extremely honored and humbled. Wawan.
Wow, I'm so inspired. If you're not inspired after that, then you're not alive. Once again, congratulations to all of our amazing honorees. You all continue to set the bar. for what excellence is. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to share in this special moment with you all. As an administrator and a colleague, I'm honored to share a space at UW-Madison and the broader campus community, and with you all, in that you all are reinforcing what it means to be a Badger, right? And it's a major reason why the University of Wisconsin-Madison has the prowess that it has the status as a world-class institution. You are our model, not just for our students, but for our colleagues and our peers. And recognizing you and your work is the least that we can do, as we all know that these laurels loom in comparison to the real, very real everyday impact that you all have on the lives of many in our campus, on our campus and in our communities. Oprah Winfrey once said, know what sparks the light in you so that you, in your own way, can illuminate the world. So thank you all for letting your light shine and demonstrating the value of equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. We are all better because of you. While we've chosen the month of March to elevate our phenomenal women colleagues, we know that you all deserve laurels every day. Thank you all for sharing your time with us today. I'm reminded of no truer words spoken by Margaret Mead, one of the mothers of feminism. And she says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I now invite the Chancellor and our honorees to join me on stage for pictures, the Provost as well. Thank you to everyone who joined us this evening in virtual and both in person. Thank you to the DDEA team. You all, how phenomenal was the food and everything tonight, right? We couldn't have done it without you all, so we really appreciate the work of the entire DDEA team. And so we have a little bit more time to celebrate with our honorees, but this concludes our programs. Thank you, and on Wisconsin's. Honorees.